here.
Hogan here.
Johnson here.
Iverson here. Eaton here.
Thank you. Amy, could you certify the posted meeting, please?
I certify that on Friday, September 11th, 2020, the agenda for the town of Rome budget meeting for Thursday, September 17th was emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune at 2:35 p.m., posted at Rome Town Hall at 2:44 p.m., at Principal's Trading Post at 2:53 p.m., and at People Edwards State Bank at 3 p.m.
Thank you. Item 4 on the agenda is to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve as presented?
So moved. Second.
Motion in 2 seconds to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. I'm not aware of any request from citizens to address the board, so we will skip the item 5 on the agenda. Board audit day. Moving on, discuss and possible action on the following items. Item 6, discussion and action to review the 2021 town and home budget. I would now turn the meeting over to Ms. Gabriel, present presentation of the budget request from the departments.
Well, welcome back. It's been a year since we've gone through the process. We went by it fairly quickly. So today is our first budget meeting. We do have 4 scheduled. We will not have items finalized today. I have 7 budgets that we're going to talk through, which were the packet that started with the levy sheet on top. In addition to those 7 budgets, just want to talk about the levy limit worksheet and have a conversation about health insurance and tourism too before our next meeting. I mentioned today is being our first meeting and that we have board tonight. Please feel free if you need a soda or a snack, there are items in the back. So we can start with the sheet that says Town of Rome and just talk a little bit about where we are at for overall levy this year. This sheet, Amy did the levy worksheet that you might more traditionally see. We did a draft of that, and then Ellers checks that for us every year. It's a complimentary service that they offer to all the municipalities that they work with. So this sheet is from Ellers, but they had the exact same result that Amy had when she went through the sheet. So we're going to focus on that 2020-2021 projected levy. You're going to see there up at the top that our levy last year, which was what we had brought in for the budget, plus our personal property tax aid, was at $3.2 million. The way that the levy worksheet works then is you exclude your debt service that you paid in the previous year, which is at $651,000. Then you take your net new growth, which ours was 1.81 for this year, which was down from last year. And then you add back in your you get that bottom number, the 2.6 million, and then you add back in the debt service that you'll pay in 2021, which is the 585,000. So just you can see at the bottom that last year our levy was the 3.2 million, and this year, because we have less debt service that we're paying, and we take off last year's debt service and we add on this year's debt service, we start with $20,000 less in levy to spend.
We have less debt.
You have less debt to pay.
So it's essentially the same.
It's, so the debt service that I'm thinking of a good way of explaining it. Yes, it is less debt service, but debt service is also associated with certain departments. And so some departments that have levy might this year have Examples would be if highway or fires, debt service was higher, then they would take more levy to help cover that debt service, because after you subtract their fees, they're mostly levy funded. So I just wanted to kind of give an idea of a starting point. We've already talked that we've been advised by our third-party provider that our health insurance is going to potentially go up 22%. And we have discussed that we were considering a 2% increase of wage increase. So obviously those increases minus the subtraction in what we could bring in for debt service line. Just want to kind of give a starting point of where we're at.
What does it take into account increase in assessed valuation?
So as far as it's what the assessor assesses the
Right,
property.
new building permits for
Yes.
people that came through, new housing.
Yes,
That's, yeah, new construction, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, from what was here before.
Yes, overall. Yeah, so last year we were at 2.38, and this year we're at 1.81. And you can see the difference there is more than $10,000. So from 59,000 last year to 46,000.
Okay.
And again, the levy can only increase by 0% or net. So why don't we go into our first budget, which is fire. You see the fire description at the top of the page. Chief is joining us today too. You can certainly answer questions as we go through. In revenues, I just want to point out, I think some of this might be repetitive from last year, but obviously fire has carry forward from their insurance dues that they receive. That has to stay in the fire budget and be spent on fire service. So you're always going to see that carry forward for them. And last year, we did hold capital projects, both for police and fire, and then have them be carried forwards in their budget also. So you're going to see that fire prior year capital revenue at the top of the revenue page. At our next budget meeting, Greg Johnson from Ellers is going to be joining us because we embarked on that financial management plan this year, and Greg is going to talk about that plan, getting that plan finalized and put into place, and our investment policy going forward, or an investment policy going forward, working with Ellers. And I know a big piece of that is going to be talking about capital projects. That might not be items that we institute for this budget, but I know that he wants to talk about that for long-term planning. You're going to also see the FireWise budget is in the fire department. I know there's been conversations about FireWise. The amount that's in the budget is what's been reflective of our DNR grant. Again, the DNR doesn't have less money to spend on FireWise, but they spread it across more communities, which has led to that number being smaller through the years. But that's also housed here in the fire department budget. You're going to see a decrease in fire charges for services, and that's simply because we have less events and we expect there to be less events next year. Overall, the levy for next year in fire is just a little bit down. Just talking a little bit through expenditures, which are going to be your next two pages. I just want to point out in insurance, you're going to see increases in everyone's insurance. Those are their commercial, their liability, their pieces of the linebacker policy, fraud, crime protection. We did experience probably between a 12 and 15% increase overall in insurance this year. We were advised from ECM, who's our third-party administrator, that next year that likely could be a lot more because of the property damage that we're experiencing across the country. Whether or not that happens within our municipality, it's led to much higher claims being paid by all insurance companies. But again, you're gonna see that increase in all the budgets this year, and just letting you know that next year that might be even more. Something else that it's just gonna be reflected probably not only in fire budget, but in other budgets, is an increase in unemployment. A lot of the departments experienced increases in unemployment this year. I wanted to also point out fire contracted services and the increase there. That increase is due to Lexipol. Chief can explain it better than me, but Lexipol is a way in which both police and fire to better monitor changes in code or state statute to coincide their standard operating procedures with.
And it also is a better way to deliver that to the staff, to make it more efficient.
And do they offer like trainings too, to make sure that staff have reviewed new policies or new goals?
Yep.
So you're gonna see an increase in that contracted services line because of Lexipol. We did enter into a contract both for police and fire this year, and are experiencing some savings and expenses this year because of, we haven't had as many meetings, we haven't had as many trainings, but, we worked in Lexipol for both departments this year, but then next year you're gonna see that expense. We do get a decrease on our insurance costs though, for having a Lexipol system because it helps better train police and fire staff.
We're gonna see the same line item for this one.
Yes, yes. So, chief is also not, he won't have any, capital outlay this year, so you'll see that's a 0. And then again, he'll be carrying forward his prior year, capital outlay, in addition to his, prior year fire insurance dues. That's where that piece of the equation is offset. And as these are kind of working meetings, I'm just gonna give you guys a couple moments to look at it. If you have questions, please feel free to write them down on the sheets. You can bring them back to the next meeting too. Chief, was there anything else in the budget that you wanted to cover or make sure we noted? Cemetery would be next, whenever you're ready. Cemetery is a fairly straightforward budget. We do not have any property tax levy in cemetery. I believe it was last year, we had some debt that we had paid off for cemetery improvements, and we're able to, not use levy there, and again, this year, won't have any levy in the cemetery. That is however a committed fund, so all cemetery, plots that are purchased and the perpetual care fee stays within the cemetery account and is carried forward. That's why you're gonna see that prior year revenue. And this year you can see for sale of lots was over $3,000 and then projected next year $2,500. We did not, we don't actually pay for it until they do the download and we start to use it. And Brad and I have been working to put the cemetery data into a spreadsheet so it can be loaded into the software. So it wasn't paid for last year because it wasn't uploaded last year.
So that 5,000 is the budget.
We did not spend. And that 5,000 in the budget, that was a placeholder because we didn't know how much it would cost. It's 2,500 with workforce, so you can see that 2,500 for 2021.
Because of unspent funds, cemetery, should be fair also. That be carried over.
Of what also that would be carried over?
Unspent funds, others from low budget and low revenue.
That would, it would stay in cemetery for next year.
Okay.
Yep, it'll go, so whatever that difference is for unspent between the budgets is gonna get carried over into that 16,000 that is prior year revenue for 2021.
Cemeteries are scared required, just as do.
Yep. His dues and capital.
Where, cemeteries, project you're in, down, $30,000 for budget. And go, so, that, those funds,
Those funds will cancel back to the general. Yep,
just so that's okay.
yep. Except for his two committed funds, they cancel back to the general. We had a lot of interest in cemetery funds this year. We will walk through Rome Town Center, and I do see that my outline say Rome Town Center and my title says Alpine Village, so I will correct that. Rome Town Center is all property tax funded. You are going to notice though in the expenditures of Rome Town Center that our part-time has gone down significantly. And that's because we're moving that mowing, because that will mostly be the great lawn now, instead of that piece that's by the gazebo to parks. That will move over to the parks budget instead of being in our Rome Town Center. Rome Town Center going forward will really just be the maintenance of like the street lights, the maintenance of the original bathroom building, the septic pumping that's out there, and items that relate to the whole town center. You're gonna see in here that we're going to update that main sign that's off of Timberline and Parkway. We're gonna do a down payment for that this year and do the remainder of the payment next year, to split it over 2 years. But those are the items that will continue in the Rome Town Center account.
So,
Question on Rome Town Center. I remember John Sonnenberg talking about the streetlights and some electrical issues with the wiring. Has that all been corrected and repaired?
Yes.
yeah, it's been addressed.
Yeah, we did that early this year with the contractor that also did the electrical at, in the police and fire station. He came back and helped us work those
So
issues
that
out.
wasn't a significant impact on the insurance budget?
No,
It's basically the bulbs that were at the end life.
and fuses. The electrician felt like it was more of a preventative maintenance item that we can handle in the future.
So all the mowing around the gazebo, that area over there is coming over the parks
It's gonna
budget.
come over to parks. Yep, yep. But like flags, signage, and that building maintenance will stay within the Rome Center. And you can see a big piece of this budget is still our debt service for the original creation and the roads that went into the construction of what was formerly Alpine Village Business Park. But Brad's been working with Stratford Sign on a new design for that main entry sign. And then you'll see the other Alpine Village signs that are along Highway 13 and the banners start to come down in the area.
Quick question. Solaris, what services do you for the town center?
In the town center, we have internet service that's on the bathroom building, that we have Wi-Fi service there.
Is that up all week long too?
It's up all summer long.
Because I was over there, I never was able to detect anything. It was all during the week, middle of the week.
No, it's wide area spectrum, so
Okay.
you should be able to, you have to accept the disclaimer, you have to.
Yeah, I didn't see anything coming in that indicated that was a possibility.
I tried it early in summer and a couple times at farmer's market, and I was able to log in. We do shut it off in the winter because there isn't, like, the farmer's market's not there, there isn't as much of a need, but it's up all summer.
I'll try it with my iPad because I know that works better.
Yeah, we would likely turn that off starting, because the farmer's market goes through that first week, that first Friday in October, and it's a monthly billing cycle, so November will.
I just wanted to see if I could get a signal over at Center Park so we could perhaps run the sprinkler system off of that.
You might need a repeater depending on
Yeah, that's what it is.
distance. Good, okay. Building and grounds. Obviously, we didn't have revenue, not that it's a great deal of revenue, but we didn't have revenue from utilization of the community room here. We do, room residents can book the room free, but we do have other people that book the room and use the room, and we didn't have any of that revenue. We're actually gonna see that negative 60 there just because of reimbursement that happened, that they booked the room in 2019, and then the reimbursement happened in 2020. And then we've also lowered that estimate for next year, just expecting that we won't be able to utilize the room as much. The $4,000 lease that you see there, I have it in the description, that's the lease for Solaris to use that space in the back of the old police department building. Which everybody saw now is painted, right? Okay. So, as far as expenditures, I do have, for the part-time staff, we try to include as much as possible the number of hours that equated to for a year. We did up that janitorial staff last year, and events personnel because of the new police and EMS building and cleaning, but we weren't turning over this room as much, right? We've been in your meeting, so it didn't need the tables and chairs taken down. So while there was some savings there last year, we did still do the same amount of hours next year, with the hope that in a regular year, that's what it would be. That you're gonna reflect some of that savings for 2020. So Brad worked a lot on this one for the operations and the contracted services and the utilities. Those numbers you're gonna see just a slight decrease in, probably more true to what they've really been, which led to just a slight decrease. The increase in this budget is going to be out of the capital outlay. We are in need to replace our welcome signs. There are 3 in town, 2 on Highway 13 north and south, and 1 on County Road B. They're very faded and worn, and they need to be replaced with something that doesn't fade quite so much in the sun. It'll also allow for us to do a separate post for our community signs, like our snowmobile friendly and our monarch community, where right now they're just sort of situated on a L bar off the side of the signs.
That's correct, yes. The new signs, existing signs are a composite board, and when the water gets in there, they fade out and crack and expand.
Those old signs weren't that expensive, was they were about $900 or so?
I don't know what the original cost was.
I don't know,
I
we
think that's
didn't,
what John told me sometime.
yeah. These ones should have a long life to them.
Yes.
What are we looking?
Stratford sign.
But that's the, you're gonna see that in the capital outlay piece of that budget, and that's why there's a percentage increase for capital outlay, it's the replacement of all three of those.
That's something they will install or?
They will install, yes. They're gonna use the existing stone foundation that's at the north and south entrance. And the new ones will actually be up a little bit higher, so that like Jamie said, the Monarch Village and the Snow Bandit, those signs can be underneath, still lit up, and not hang off the sign. So then the one on Highway B will just be on posts like it is right now.
We're just getting,
We don't have anything on C.
no, we don't have anything on C.
So there's other capital outlay expenses in here other than signs, right?
We also have some in there to seal this roof. That when we painted the old police department roof, we used a product to get it sealed also, from Sherwin-Williams. Just because we have a lot of storage in that building now, record storage. So we also have a piece of money within this to seal the town hall.
This one over here also is new?
Yep. This building actually has 2 roofs on it, so sometimes if there's a leak, it's hard to determine, because it could come in someplace and rain down to someplace else. So it's time to just get it all sealed with a nice product. We are in general outlay. I just did those numbers not too long ago, and there was maybe like 60 that was left, 60,000. And we are going to epoxy the fire department floor, those funds, and do some plumbing work that needs to be done in that space. And a little bit of remodeling work with their lockers and storage area. We're also still painting those garage doors and putting new eye sensors for the garage door openers in that area. Did I miss anything? Oh, and the vestibule. We decided when we epoxied their floor, we should epoxy the vestibule. It'll just make that entrance a little bit nicer. And the cold that's in there, I think because of just the weather change, it has a tendency to not stick so great to the building, because that's not, it's insulated, but it's not heated. So we're gonna curb the epoxy at the wall in there.
Is that a non-slip surface?
Yes, it'll have a fluff to it, for brick. Not at this time, we don't. We might not use up all the 60, but we may be pretty close, yeah. But if I'd like the kitchen, some updating in the kitchen. Yeah, yeah. Would be, also nice to just update this space, fresh coat of paint and maybe not so the 70s colors. Yes, they'll come back. It always comes back. We're starting with some easy ones, because we'll get climbing the mountain. Community donations. There also is no levy in this budget. I always like to mention that this is funded out of the aluminum cans that people throw into the container, into the fenced-in area at the transfer site. This year, because we did not do the veterans luncheon, we have a little more carryover than we've had in past years. That will hold with the community donations and carry forward. But we do still have a projected year-end for a couple more events this year. There's a request tonight for the Halloween event on the town board meeting. But then next year, again, this is where the Veterans Day ceremony and luncheon would come from, and again, those requests from community organizations. So next year, we're proposing, to take 7,500 in carryover and then another 2,100 in aluminum can sales. So make sure to separate your aluminum, throw it into the
I gave him a bag for the first time this year.
good. Zoning department, this year, their levy did go down because they have been doing well with business licenses, building permits, zoning permits, other general permits. This year, although we are down on new home construction, we did well on permits for sheds and remodels and electric and more camping lots. People established more camping lots. So those are smaller fees. Obviously, when it's based on the value of the property for a new home construction, those are larger permit costs. So while there is more permits, they can equal less revenue. But next year with what we're projecting on what we've been taking in for revenue, we're only expecting to use about 5,500 in levy in this budget. And the expenses are fairly straightforward as they've been in previous years. This is where our contract building inspector comes out of. You're going to see his projected year-end for 2020 is a little bit higher, again, because we've had more of those lower inspections for electrical upgrades or remodels, or we've had a lot of, again, short-term rentals where he does an inspection. So the next budget we want to talk about, you'll see a big draft written on it, and that's the solid waste budget. Moving up the most. So we've talked about in the past that, and Brad can help me if I miss any pieces of it, but we've talked about in the past that Adams County wants to take the landfill cost off of the county levy. And because of that, prices with them are going to increase. They've heard a lot from municipalities that they couldn't take that increase all in 1 year and are working it in over the next 4 years. That cost increase for us, we pay $80 now for a to be delivered and picked up, plus $60 tippage a ton for the waste that's in that dumpster. By the end of the 4 years, we'll pay $280 plus the tippage cost. And tippage could go up in those years. That rate is set every year by the county. They said it won't increase this year, but it's possible it could go up in subsequent years.
Right.
280. If the,
$80 for the open top dumpster,
It's cottage, right?
plus $60 for,
yes,
is that $80 on the flip?
yes.
What's it on to
In 2021, it's essentially $48.48 more per dumpster.
60% increase.
60, yes.
Ouch.
Yes.
Have we talked anymore with other communities about buying a truck?
So, no, we haven't talked to other communities about buying a truck. We have had conversations about, again, Adams County has a county ordinance that the waste that's produced here has to stay here. That it hasn't been challenged in court, but the waste management services that are available to us do honor that agreement and take it to Adams County. So we are exploring some other options. The budget that you see today reflects just solely that 60% increase. So if nothing else changed at solid waste, the levy for solid waste is going to increase over $70,000.
And more than likely each year for the next 4 years.
It will increase, it will, yes. It could potentially be even more than a 60% increase if tippage increases over those 4 years.
Yeah, but just for cars alone,
Yes.
we'd be well equipped to have a truck that we could share with another community probably.
Well,
My mom is getting, goes to the CDL library.
yes, and then you have the cost also of the person, and if you share that with the other municipalities. Jerry and I were at an Adams County unit meeting, and the other municipalities are obviously disappointed in this cost increase too, but I don't think it's unreasonable to say that, because it is, it's the state, it's a fact that Rome takes the highest increase of this.
We have the most volume and it covers all.
Yeah, I think, is it Del Prairie is just a little bit further. Yeah.
And didn't we also, if our county administrator say that our local property taxes were going
So,
up?
again, the county manager is, has said that if municipalities, if he wants this, he would prefer it not to be on the county levy. Has offered municipalities the option to do the curbside service, which, the town of Rome did not express interest in wanting to go on curbside service. Now, we kind of share all that in the landscape. Just wanted to talk through, Brad and I had a conversation. Obviously, household waste, your recyclables and your bags of garbage, your household waste. Because we have the compactor. That's not where these hauling trips are coming from. The hauling trips are coming from the open top waters, the open top dumpsters, and the construction waste, what we consider construction waste that's going into that. The only way to save the cost, the way that the county is going to charging, is to make less trips. That's because we'll be charged now for the driver's time and the mileage, which we understand. It takes longer to get here, it's a longer trip, it's more wear and tear on the truck. So the piece that would get this, the levy cost down is obviously to make less trips. If the board would consider it because of that substantial levy increase, we would work out the numbers now. We are at 8 open top dumpsters. We would go to 4 open top at the beginning of the year and through the winter months. We go to 6 open top in the summer and then back down to 4 after the months of summer. That will mean that there's less open top space at the transfer site. If the dumpsters would be full, we would likely ask residents to take the waste and come back another day when there would be an available dumpster to place it in. Again, we're talking construction waste, not your recyclables or your household waste, but anything that would go into the open tops.
If I bring a trailer full on Sunday afternoon, so in the summertime, we're at 6,
6.
and I get there at 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and all 6 of them are now full. We're gonna ask you to turn around and bring it back another.
On another day that we would be open, yes.
Well, and that's the point is that human nature is human nature, and they're just gonna offload that crap right next to the dumpster. And then we're gonna empty the dumpster and just come back and then throw all the extraneous stuff.
I think it'd be better off to have a charge for people who bring a trailer full of shingles or
So we don't,
construction debris.
we don't accept it.
Or people sure would know that the past.
We have in the past, but we don't accept it.
I,
The other piece, and I understand there's an education piece to this too, for sure. But Adams County landfill would also accept these items. They would, and I understand. You are gonna be scaled in and scaled up, yes. Yes, but if we would be full, there are other options where they can take the waste.
but they're always at the same age.
They are not the same.
And we already have a minor problem with people dumping TVs and mattresses and other things, would that not? I understand exactly what you're saying, why you're saying it, but by solving one problem, would we not create a bigger problem in the town where people, we've got a lot of desolate roads here, and they're already dumping some stuff. Are we not going to be in a position of, our public works department's going to be garbage collectors?
So Brad can answer this question better than I because he and his staff are out on the road, but I mean, how much of that waste are you seeing now?
I think we picked up maybe 4 TVs this year, and actually 2 of them were
In big
in
ones?
big ones. It's all said and done.
And I picked up 6 mattresses in Monroe Center.
We actually have more of an issue of TVs, tires, and appliances being dumped with the brush and grass clippings, and residents not paying for them to be disposed of properly. They're getting to the right place, they just aren't taking the next step.
Aren't we sure? We got a new mattress, so I took the old mattress to the transfer site, I had to pay to dump that mattress.
Yes, you have to pay for electronics, mattresses now,
I
yes.
I'm not quite following, you know, when you say people aren't, so they're just not paying?
What we find is they'd say to sneak them in, have a pile of grass clippings, and put the TV underneath, go back to the grass clippings, shut them off. Probably 2 or 3 times a week, we're pulling stuff out of the grass clippings.
So they're just pushing everything off their trailer right there into the grass pile.
And we understand too, that Janetta talked, a lot of this is going to be a policing effort. our people to get them.
I agree, but when you think about that, how many trailer full of brush are coming in there on any given open day is a lot. And then if people are that devious to avoid paying a $15 charge, and they're just gonna pile grass clippings and whatever else around that whole thing. It's just bad commentary on society.
The other piece of that though is the enforcement piece of knowing that transfer site is for town of Rome residents. And if contractors need to be doing their work on town, in the town of Rome, and then paying that contractor's fee. So that, that other piece of the policing part is just making sure, do they have a tag? And then asking them, I see your tag, what's your address here in the town of Rome? To ensure that's their tag. Because sometimes people, unfortunately, they share it with other people.
Well, I haven't been checking our tag this year. Last year we checked our tag.
And I agree with that. And I'm not saying that negative toward our tenants because they are all there. But I am there. I'm not yet receiving.
That's good to know. Thank you.
I've had a couple phone calls too from residents who have expressed concern about people coming in there. And it hasn't been checked, tags haven't been checked, I'm just checking. Plus, when they bring stuff there to donate it or to give it to the
Choose to read.
choose to reuse area, like there are people out there already with pickup trucks early in the morning to pick up stuff that they know are taking it like to the flea market down in Evans or something. You're wondering if they could be kept out of there until people from around here have a chance.
The other thing is value in reducing the number of the top containers.
I think there is value in reducing the open top containers and both doing an education piece and an enforcement piece. Which is why we wanted to talk about it, because that it'll be a change. It's not, and there's gonna be some conversations, I am sure, where contractors who have utilized the site and have thrown things away will be told that they can't come back in unless they have a contractor's permit.
Let's see, and I'm not, this one just comes to mind because I see it there a lot. The owner of premium services. He drives a black truck, he's got a black trailer. He's there offloading stuff on a fairly regular basis. So he's a contractor. Yeah, I'm assuming he's a Rome resident.
He doesn't have to
A brush permit is $500, a solid waste permit is $2,500.
I think we only have one right now, solid waste.
We only have one solid waste permit, yes.
Only one contractor has a permit to be bringing construction material, open top material in.
And who is that?
It's DCF.
So-
Now, we do have other contractors that have a brush and lawn clipping permit, and that's $500 a year for town residents, and we changed that at home where I think it's $650 for businesses outside of the town.
No, but if I'm a contractor and I have a brush, and now I'm bringing in construction kits.
No, you would have,
And this is where from our attendant perspective, is they need to be educated and doing a better job looking at that and saying, yeah, allow you out there because you don't be. The makeup part of that is that person, you know, official. But at the same time, these are all costs that are going up.
And, I mean, 70,000 this year times 4, we can't absorb that in the levy.
I know that, and I can tell you that every weekend, how many dumpsters do we have out there now?
There are 8.
8. And I bet you, that they're pushing, they're compacting that stuff in open tops just to get more stuff in there. Take it, get it out. You know, in the 4 years that Sherry and I have lived here, the traffic in and out of that transfer site has increased tenfold.
I think we just go for on now, of course, technically good, they can order do that, in the back on a little bit, that's one of the controls.
Well, if you know you're gonna get checked, you're gonna display your tag the way you get in there, so it shouldn't take up too much time.
But that's the next question now, to say, I can see your tag, I want to just reflect that, you show me your license to reflect that tag belongs to your address.
Can I explain my shipping?
Yes, yes.
I kind of thought the idea, it's going to back up traffic coming in a little bit, but having a attendance shed closer to where the turn is where you come in, or even talk about having the residents come in off of the road that goes down to the dog park, and they can take the trees out and give us a longer driveway so we have more storage for cars to come in, and have an attendant there with a stop sign on the building, and checking every car as they come through. At least we can get a visual, look at the back of the trailer, yep, I see what you got, and being a help to them too, to point the residents, you need to go down to that dumpster, you need to go this way. We're also in our budget for next year some more signage out by the recycle dumpsters. Instead of having the magnets on the side of them, we're gonna have some of those folding billboards or walking billboards, I guess. That's gonna say paper with an arrow, cans with an arrow. So that way, help get people in and out a little bit quicker, so they know which bin they need to go to. And my thought was have that attendance building up front, is they can check, oh, you want to take, maybe it has some two-way radios, they can radio to the guy up by the main shed, okay, this array of cars that come towards you, he needs a new tag or a new resident.
I think we should attack the $70,000 increase in our cartage fees. If that's gonna increase every year by that amount, we could easily pay for a truck and a driver. And you can share the cost, seems to be the number, that's a municipality like in the big class.
But Big Flats isn't experiencing the same increase, I believe.
So proportionally,
But I think Big Flats increase overall was like $50 a year. So I don't know that other municipalities that are close to us are something.
even on our own, we could still support 240,000 like this. over 4 years.
Correct, and that's cheap. Manpower and maintenance, everything. Structure. Yeah, 10,000 on that.
Yeah. But you can advertise that over 10 years, right? 8 years?
But if we, this might be a direct, I apologize if it comes direct, but if we're concerned about the 70, we wouldn't necessarily have the funds to do the truck and that personnel. I mean, I'm not suggesting that we have the funds to absorb the increase, which is what it would take to purchase the truck and have the driver.
But 4 years go by, you give us support. This is going to be ongoing. It's not going to happen.
In the immediate future, we have to address the current. In the long term, I like Bob's idea, and it's like anything else, until we have the numbers in front of us to see, okay, what is the truck
council. Whenever we get a new truck, it's just about, what Jimmy said, it's just about $200.
I think we need to have a intermediary. The idea's not bad one at all, except I'd like to see that everything's included there, like the insurance, like possible roles for hiring somebody, like things that are going out for individual insurance policies or disability for all of those things, because we need to make sure it's all covered.
You probably could get a contract if you do it. Contract it out.
which we have asked and about having a contractor contracted out. In the one scenario that we had received back, again, because they have to take it to Adams County, it was more expensive to contract to have that hauler take it. The other piece that we haven't worked out is all of our dumpsters belong to Adams County. They belong to Adams County Solid Waste. I'm not sure that they would still charge us rent for using their dumpsters. So yes, we save the trip charge, but we might still incur costs because we're wearing and tearing their dumpsters.
You're gonna have to purge your own for rent.
Yes,
They want that,
yes.
So what are you saying, the rental dumpster comes with the $120 garbage fee?
We are paying rental of dumpster on, as these fees increase. We don't pay rental of dumpster now, but we will going forward.
It's gonna still gonna be over and above the garbage fee. In the line.
Yes.
I like Brad's idea, this initial service, monitor what's coming in, go, who's done and what they're done.
Maybe too. I think that's very good. I think if you have somebody, right, gatekeeper, as people come in to direct them and be helpful, I think that is good PR too.
I think we might get some initial backlash, because it's gonna take longer to get through the line. But, after hearing everyone here say that you haven't been checked once this year, it'll make people realize after the first week, oh, I better have my tag in my window, I drive by, I wave it, it'll speed up the process coming through.
If it takes me 10 minutes longer versus driving in there right now, fear of somebody just flipping around and over the hot dumpster or coming out of the brush pile and having an accident. And if there haven't been any better vendors there yet, we could pretty good luck. I really like the idea of turning it off of the gravel road from room to room. I think that's great. To keep people off of Apache. That way.
And the line on, 9 o'clock,
Yeah. I do. I'll give you one scenario. If I were to pull in without my K or I have my K, it's 2019, which mine do. You want to see my driver's license? Because the DMV doesn't require me to update my driver's license until it expires. So my current driver's license shows me living at home.
Well, it's more than that, Jerry, because the number of people these are second homes, the driver's license is not going to reflect them.
But they, at the transfer site, have a logbook of property owners. So if you presented your driver's license, we can look you up by last name and reflect that you have property and we are writing your tag number.
A number of years ago, I remember, John Ward was talking about the transfer site and people from Rapids and other places bringing their garbage here. And then the town board, public works director had people actually standing there wanting to see your tag and identification and so forth. And it was like, not very nice people were doing that. And they were treating the residents very poorly. And to the point where we were yelled at if you didn't have a tag, you didn't want to have a car over there and get one or else. And I know this has to be done, but we also need to do a little training in how to deal with the public. Certainly, we need to verify this. I don't know, Adams County is raising about $80,000 for us to take care of this garbage. We can't
I'd be real surprised if you can reduce the number of dumpsters you have from 8 to 6, just by checking IDs.
Then if we got construction, materials on there, the contract, we don't know if that material's coming from home or big glass.
Well, then you want to have a flat fee for those people who don't have a license and just charge them $30 or $35, whatever it is, instead of trying to win.
That would show that fee for the, one.
Well, we do have a flat fee for contractors, but the transfer site is not for use of anyone that is not a property owner in the town. Yeah, but we have a fee for, again, for contractors inside Rome and contractors outside of Rome. But the contract waste they bring has to be produced in Rome. It has to be because they did the lawn for someone that lived in Rome, or they remodeled the kitchen for someone in Rome. They could remodel a home in Saratoga or Big Flats and bring that construction waste here.
Sure that,
I'm sure it is.
one pipeline,
Yeah.
you got to check them in, for the question, yeah.
Maybe we'll find out when we go to 6 dumpsters, and then when we up our number of contractors that are paying maybe then we'll be able to afford to go back up to 8 or something. If this is being done the right way, we'll then have the money to cover it.
I think we all very much agree on that enforcement piece, but I think the next sort of decision or guidance that we were looking for you from is we will certainly do that education piece and the getting that word out to the public, but we still have to have sort of a number of open tops, because that's what will reflect that number in the budget.
When you look at open tops, we'll look at how many dumpsters that you're going to be utilizing. Are we basing that on the average or on the maximum days? Because we're a weekend community. And when a surge comes at Labor Day or one of these holidays when everybody has family up here and everything, that's when you get maximum use. And I guess my question is, can we go with a smaller number and on certain days tell them, look, we're a different community here. You know, a community consists of the people that live here, but also the extended families and relatives that come and friends over the weekend. Can we get extra dumpsters brought in on those certain days and pay an extra cartage fee or something?
Yes, and we do that now. We bring in a second compactor on holiday weekends.
Can I just explain one thing? Over Labor Day weekend in Longfield, we had 8 dumpsters, and I did call to ask if we could get 2 more covered for the weekend. And since we are only paying the $80 per dumpster, and if a resident down Big Flats is doing his roof that day, he's renting that same dumpster, he has to pay $250. I was told they will not give us a dumpster at $80 when they know they can sell to someone else for that weekend for $250. She said we could have it if we wanted to pay the same rate as what they're paying, but that was all we could have.
It's extortion.
That's not the way we're operating.
But I just want you to know, I made it up.
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
I mean, the county has been trying to do that, but.
But we have also done extra compactors. I mean, we have tried on those holiday weekends. We understand that. I guess the other piece of that is, when your family is up here for a holiday weekend, I mean, we find so many mattresses and cabinets and toilets and, that construction waste also compounds on those weekends too.
It does. But this summer, it's just incredible how much stuff is coming in just on a normal week. It is, like I said, it's just every day, I do one of that every Monday morning or Monday afternoon after the close. There's stuff just slid out.
Just yesterday morning, I was out there pushing brush up. Of the 8 of them, probably half of them are full. You know, they each have maybe half in them. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was blowing over the top. And today, we had to get out there for almost 2 hours, compacting and picking up all the stuff around them. And we actually had to wait for empties to come, so we put it in something to get rid of it.
This is the open top construction trailer.
Yes.
I like the idea, but I don't like the idea. About reducing the open top, but we have to do something because we can't absorb the cost, so, the way to do something, we can't do nothing.
If it wasn't is doing significant construction in his house or whatever, it's kind of a one-time deal for that person, they don't do it all their lives. So I don't see why it's unreasonable to ask them to pay a fee to dump it.
Should have a scale or something.
Last year, I think I asked about scale, maybe probably, more cost for it.
Yeah, we should estimate a 4x8 trailer basis or something like that.
So Brad just said about 125 to 150,000 for a scale to be on there.
They do have portable trailers, so.
To have a scale like that where you're actually charging off of, it has to be certified. Like your weights and measures.
The state has to come and do that.
Yes.
And you have to calculate.
Can't do that in quarters.
You can still have to give you a 4x8 trailer, if you have, there's a 10x12.
And you're looking for that, you look at that, and say, well, weight trailer is this, or what trailer is this?
Yeah.
That's just a big.
Can't believe it, we had on Wednesday, we had much construction, crews coming in, plus the contractor.
I'm assuming some things here, but by watching, you can still sometimes what can monitor what happens. I'm guessing they probably are doing houses down in the area, working Monday and Tuesday, or open Wednesday, open to bring my trailer, dump it on Wednesday, so that way I have them doing for Thursday and Friday. So that's why Wednesdays is much busier than I would have expected too, I thought. But it was full.
Surprised the same year.
The signage that they gave out, which spells out these kinds of things. Charge for trailer length.
I think it would, yes.
And we would have to, we wanted to redo the signage anyways at the entrance gate, so, if we did reroute traffic, we would do different signage there. I mean, the other piece of this is the fee piece. We did increase those fees this year for, in-town and out-of-town businesses for the brush and the solid waste rate. We certainly could look at an increase for mattresses and for our electronics. We're very comparable to what it would be to take it to Adams County landfill right now for both electronics. We just looked at it the other day and we had very similar costs. But we could also look at a fee increase on those items too.
Electronics is 15.
Yeah.
When you say electronic, like appliances or?
No, TVs and computer monitors.
It's weird because if you bring in a small plastic TV, you're paying the same amount as one of these giant TVs. Plastic versus a machine.
I think it's so much the room, it's the contents, and actually, Adams County picks those up in that dumpster, takes them down to their facility, and then loads them and hauls them to Onalaska. And we get billed direct from them at Onalaska, and then Adams bills us the trucking.
So they're taking it to the Ross County Waste Management?
It's,
Or is there?
Dynamic tech solutions, they're taking it to a tech
They
professional.
strip it down.
I think it's the same, I think we just looked at their website and it was the same. Yeah.
Not a week.
For those items, yes. For construction waste, they have a scale down there, so they weigh you in and weigh you out.
I think we could monitor, and gate, checking, eliminate some volume to it. Or open it up. Sure, that's still coming in.
So, for our next meeting, Brad and I will go back and we'll look at the fee schedule. We'll propose some potential fees. And then with the education piece, would we potentially be comfortable maybe with going down another 2 open taps and going to 6?
We have to try. I think you like the idea of, maybe doing full floor between, Thanksgiving and Easter or whatever the case is, I don't know. Pick a season, period, makes sense. And then 6 in the summer, right? I think 4 might work, I don't think 6 will.
Are we using 8 year old?
We were using more than 8, what did we have?
We're at 12.
We were at 12 and Adams County said, we have to go to 8.
If the other one doesn't work, then you're gonna give us the 2 back.
They potentially will, but, obviously, we might face then a budget shortfall because we'll have the cost associated with them.
Do they have any idea what an open top costs?
$5,000.
Yeah.
Price of already.
Yep.
Maybe we need to have one reserved for ourselves. Okay, would you check?
That's for a new one? Yes. Any used ones, Bill? I didn't look into used, I looked in the new. What you see out there for used is they're probably junk. You know, ones that by the time they're used up.
Yeah, we've got that, though.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the last use items I've ever purchased.
They come equipped with raccoons.
We don't take those, they charge us, well, they probably charge us per month, right?
Yes, they will.
How much is that?
I have to pull back up that spreadsheet, but they also, the way that Adams County is going to figure it, it's the 25-year lifespan of a $5,000 lugger times your turnover rate of how often they would be coming through your facility. So I think we go through a dumpster every 0.7 of a week. So it's that capital expense is then multiplied by our cycling fee.
I like the idea of having a home dumpster as a spare, but concern me is how it's manhandled by the truck, and it's picked up and dumped on the truck back.
Or we get the same one back.
Well,
If you have to go, so it's not just a rent per dumpster, versus buying, it's like, thank you, $20 dumpster.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, once they deliver it, we're gonna get charged the 280, because they have to come back again. Eventually, the 280, yes. Yeah.
just, if we're gonna go with 6, and Wayne said, we all know this, once we give something up, we're never gonna get it back. So, we tell Adams County we're going to 6, we're gonna say, okay, 6, and then 6 months from now, we say, 8, you think we can go to 8, and we're gonna go to 3. No, because now Johnny's doing his road, Susie's doing her road, right? We're gonna rent them out at 250, and we're never gonna see it. And we, if there, so that at least we have something to put the overflow into.
Why don't we police it first and see what the reductions are?
I think for this challenge, starting out simple and small and then incremental, and then work toward whatever a real, true, long-term solution is going to be. You know, to try and tackle this all at once is not, but I think it's a good course of action. And we all do this as well anyways, so I think we should at least consider rerouting the traffic off of that, putting in an intended building. Bob said, looking at enforcement, we've all said, and then looking at our contractors, who has a license and who's coming. And I don't want to pick on the bike and green, I sure don't, but I know we've been in the construction stuff. I've seen it. If he doesn't have the appropriate permit, then
Charge him a flat fee right there.
so.
We'll go back to what Jerry was saying before. Is there something we could contract with them for the lesser amount of dumpsters over the winter months, and then starting, say, Memorial Day or April, add to for the summer, and then go back again to the lesser?
Yes, we would discuss that with them and say this is our plan for the year, so we would have agreement, yes.
Yeah, I was concerned, you know, like Wayne was saying, we don't want to say, all right, this is what you got to get no more. If we have a contract that ups it, we can always reduce it in the future if this is working over the summer and we decide we don't need those two other ones in the summertime, which I have a hard time believing. But, you know, I think we don't use as much in the winter. We can't. We don't have
Well,
as many people.
I don't think we do. You know, our population reduces significantly over the winter months. Construction projects reduce significantly over the winter months. So to me, it's worth trying to see how we do it.
Okay, so we will put together numbers for the next budget meeting. That would be a 4-6-4 plan. And that, those numbers will also include the potential of us maybe buying one dumpster, so we have it here as spare, and any cost we have associated with constructing that building and rerouting our intake. We'll work on those numbers for the next meeting and continue our discussion.
I think we need to look at how we're going to form the community. And want, because, now let's face it, people are going to read what they're going to read, and they're not going to read what they're not going to read. Can't but I'll go back to our discussions that we had with the personal pickup stuff. And then you look at what we talked about and what we decided. And then you look at the crap that's out there on the next door app. It's like people, what have you been listening to? Who have you been listening to? And what do you understand or don't understand? So I know we will do the best possible job we can do in educating the public. And that's all we can do, but I think we have to make it true, honest, best foot forward effort to educate the public why we're making the changes that we're making. I mean, they have to have all of this stuff out in front of them so that they can understand. You know, this is a significant cost increase. We as the elected officials are trying our best to keep your costs down. Yet our costs as a town. handle their things.
We also need to educate the attendants.
Well, I can't,
What education is going out, so they pass on the same. Last time, they were, probably coming in there and they're in a different story.
When we started that process last year, we did customer service training and we did training with the director, Adams County Solid Waste Director, on where do our materials go and why it's important that we have people separate things. So we will continue that. I mean, Brad and I have had that discussion and we'll continue that. And I think also, I know I have and Brad, we've taken shifts out there and asked questions and said to people who want to check your license or your permits.
don't get me wrong, every attendant out there is very personal, at least that's been my experience. But, which is great, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we are able to effectively communicate to the public what it is that we can communicate.
So those were the budgets that I wanted to talk about today. This was our start for today. Our next meeting for budgets is Tuesday, September 29th. Again, for that meeting, Greg Johnson's going to be joining us from Ellers to walk through that financial management plan. There's not a town board meeting after that one, so that one might go a little bit longer too, because we'll go through that plan and then we'll cover a couple more budgets. We'll be back to get the solid waste. Potentially by the next meeting, then we'll have a better overall picture with some questions, so we can kind of determine where we are with levy as a overall.
Anything else? We do have some